The Red Wings play today at 4:30 p.m. PST. They're playing off against the Boston Bruins, and hopefully, for everybody in Red Wings Nation's sake, we see ourselves a good game. Not another game where the Bruins score 5 goals because, the Red Wings love giving 5 goals to their opponents. Not another game where we see pretty much the Red Wings of old come back out to play, and no longer the quick and speedy and young team that we had seen earlier this year. The Red Wings have declined, and when it comes to the guy at the front of that, of course you could talk about Jeff Blashill, we did in a video the other day, but we also got to talk about some authority figures on the actual team itself, starting off with Captain Dylan Larkin. Now, the reason we're making this video is because there was an interview done on mlive.com. Red Wings Dylan Larkin, not a lot of joy. It's as frustrating as can be. There were a whole bunch of quotes published here by Ansar Khan the other day from Larkin and what exactly his entire perspective is on the Red Wings and their current skid. But before we go over that, because this article is a very good read, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and do that yourself. Let's just go over Dylan Larkin and his season as a whole so far. Because, oddly enough, even though there's a lot of doom and gloom going on in Red Wings Nation right now, there still are some pretty good notes to talk about too. Dylan Larkin, 25 years old, as we know, he's the captain of this team, he is a center, and he's making 6.1 till the end of 2023. He still is on pace for a career year. 64 points, 64 games played. He's on pace to playing 77 games, and because he's a point-per-game player, he is on pace for 77 points in that span. This season, he's already accomplished his second highest productive season when it comes to scoring. Only one season in 2018-19 remains higher. He had 73 points in 76 games played and 32 goals. Now, a lot of people were going out there and saying, okay, Dylan Larkin in 2021 only had 9 goals. He was on pace for less than 20. What's going on with this guy? He had 30 a few years ago. Is he still that type of player? And, he's got 29 goals right now in 64 games, on pace for 35 goals, so he would be besting his career high. And even though the Red Wings are in a position where they've started to lose a lot of games, they're giving up 5, 11, 5, etc. amount of goals per game, you're still seeing Dylan Larkin go out there, get some goals, get some points. He's been pretty consistent throughout the entire year. It's actually the month of February, I believe, that he absolutely went haywire and started scoring points like crazy. But either or, Dylan Larkin himself is not having a bad year. He's on pace for a career high, and if he plays at the same pace for next season, I think it's very much worth the $6.1 million contract. But as the captain of a team that is on a sinking ship, there still are some comments that he can go out there and make that I think are interesting enough to make a video about. So let's go over onto the MLive article. Red Wings, as we said, Dylan Larkin, not a lot of joy, is as frustrating as can be, and read what he has to say. Firstly, though, I want to read what Ansar Khan has to write about when it comes to the Wings and their recent stretch. They loved how things were going right up until around Valentine's Day. They were slightly above .500 in points percentage. They were scoring more goals and giving up fewer than last season. Rookies Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond injected talent and energy into the lineup. Larkin and Bertuzzi were having bounce-back years, and Nedeljkovic had set him up nicely in net. But since then, their once promising season has gone south, and so has their enthusiasm. I look around and I don't see a lot of joy. I don't see a lot of guys having fun. We need to change that and enjoy playing hockey, he said after Sunday's 5-2 loss at Ottawa. Ansar writes about just how bad the Red Wings have been statistically. There's the records and everything, how many goals they've been giving up. Larkin says, yeah, the guys are frustrated. It just hasn't gone the way any of us want it to go since even before the trade deadline. We've had the hardest schedule, but it's as frustrating as it can be. We were the closest we've been in a couple of years. We were playing well. We played well at home, and then we've just really fallen off. It is frustrating. We gotta get something here positive to end the season on. We can't go into the summer like this and into next year. We've gotta find a way to get something positive. We're a young team. We've got to remember how close we were and what the games were like when we were 4, 6, 8 points out of the playoffs. We've got to find a way to string together wins, and hopefully we get to take a learning lesson out of that. Now, firstly, I like how he's saying it in this way. Like, he's not saying, oh, we got to make the playoffs, we got to do this, we got to do that. Like, Yeah, I get it. They're mathematically eliminated, so we can't really say anything else. But at this point, you just have to play because you got to finish out the season, finish out rounding out your stats and all that. And besides, these players have pride, right? And so for Larkin to say instead, okay, we need to string together wins, and we got to take a lesson out of this. We got to learn something from this. Not, oh, we got to string together wins and give ourselves a chance to maybe still contend. Like, no. I like how Larkin is saying that it's not really about the playoffs anymore, it's just about building this team in a proper way that allows them to grow and become better as the years go on, because we know it's a young team. Larkin himself said it's a young team. And I know there will be the odd Red Wings fan here or there that says, hey, they're already out, like why don't they just go out there and lose every single game now so they get the best draft pick available in the first round of the 2022 NHL Entry Draft? Sure, it's not necessarily a wrong way of thinking, it's just you can't realistically guess that NHL teams would be doing that, especially guys who are, as we said, as prideful as hockey players are. Larkin himself said everyone in their locker room is playing for something, there's roles on the team next year, there are contracts. If that's not enough, you gotta play for the love of the game, come out and enjoy it, enjoy the grind of it, enjoy being in a one-goal game and playing the right way. And then eventually losing because, hey, draft picks, right? But aside from Dylan Larkin, there also are some other comments made by Jeff Blashill. As we said in the previous video, it's not really likely that Blashill is going to get fired this season. It's more likely going to happen in the offseason. Maybe we see somebody else come in by the time September rolls around. But Blashill says there's no doubt that right now we're beat down mentally. That's not an excuse. We've got to fix that. But that's the reality of it. We've got to climb our way out of it. Some of these teams, like Ottawa, they were out of it a long time ago. They went through their own stretch where I'm sure it was misery. Now they're just having fun playing hockey. And that is a really good point. Like, sure, the Red Wings losing 5-2 to the Senators, Joseph hat-trick, Norris hat-trick, whatever, but like, the way the Sens have played, not just this season, but even last season as well in the Canadian division, might I remind you that the Ottawa Senators were dead last in the Canadian division for most of the season, and then they became good at the end. They came in second last once everything was said and done, and Vancouver actually was the team that finished last in the North. That Sens team, once they got past their humps of misery, both last season and this season, have just started playing good old fun hockey, and you can see it in the body language of the guys. They can get a save here and there, they can get a goal here and there, they can win a game here and there, and they're all ecstatic about it. Even Brady Tkachuk, he wins hockey games and he scores goals, and then he comes back home and plays some street hockey with the kids in the neighborhood. Like, there's just a good vibe going on in Ottawa right now. And I'm not saying that Dylan Larkin needs to go out there and start playing with the Detroit kids on the street, but just the body language, just, you know, accepting that this is the team and still saying, okay, well, we have however many games left to go, we've got 15 games left or whatever, let's just go out there, have a good time, and see what happens. Let's try some cool things, let's get some goals, let's maybe get some wins, and see if we can play well enough to the point that we're selected for this team and the same spot next year. Blashill also says this, we were in it for a long time. Mentally, we struggled once we dropped out of it to get our energy back and find the enjoyment of the competition that you'd have on a night-to-night basis. We've got to find a way to get that back. And I recognize that while it's easy for Larkin and Blashill to go into the media and say these things, say the right things, you know, these are pretty good quotes, and I don't think anybody can go out there and say, yeah, you're wrong, you're not supposed to do that. Execution and saying things verbally are two different things. So, against the Boston Bruins later today, I just hope that the Red Wings do have that spark, just have at least some indicator that they're having a good time out there. Because ultimately, when we see the potential, when we see a cool highlight reel play from Seider, or a very nice dangle by Raymond, or a pretty good tic-tac-toe goal that results in a backdoor pass to Bertuzzi, when we see those moments in the games, those are the things that we can cheer about and say, man, I can't wait till we see this in a playoff game. I can't wait till we see this and the other really cool thing that we saw from Seider and this other prospect in Edvinsson that is doing really well. I can't wait till we see all of those things on the same team in a few years. Because at the end of the day, the Red Wings in 2021-2022 are just at the beginning stages of them becoming great once again. This is still the little victories time. This is still, okay, whatever victories you can get, just cherish them because they're not really supposed to come in high quantities this season. Sure, they were 4 points out of the playoffs earlier on in the year, but hockey is 82 games in a season for a reason now, isn't it? And longevity is part of that test. So talk to me in the comments, let your thoughts about the Red Wings and Larkin's comments on the slump. I hope you enjoyed this video, Trolls 99, and bye.